On this episode of Transit Unplugged TV, we bring you highlights from two amazing public transportation conferences, the Florida Public Transportation Association Conference held in Naples, and then the ThinkTransit Conference held in Nashville. The speakers focused on new microtransit services and technology, leadership, mental health, safety, and zero-emission buses. Let's start off in beautiful Naples. Thanks for riding with us today to Southern Florida, where we're here in Naples at the Florida Public Transportation Association Conference, where in just a few minutes I'm going to be up on stage with some of the state's leading transportation CEOs talking about innovations, about their lives and careers, what's happening with them right now. Come ride with us on this episode of Transit Unplugged TV.
Well, for a while now, PSTA has been really proud of the partnerships we've created with TNCs like Uber and Lyft and taxis. And we're basically taking those microtransit concepts and applying those now to our paratransit program, which really hadn't changed or gotten any better in a very long time. And now, by combining real-time rides that microtransit and TNCs can provide with our paratransit, we're making things a lot better for our community. Now folks are not only just going to and from the doctor, but they're going out to eat. They're going to see their friends and family. The customers love it, and that makes me very proud of the stuff we're doing at PSTA.
Sure, Paul. So we are very focused on making sure that we leverage microtransit as a form of how people can get to places where they need to go. We currently have a program called GoConnect that provides on-demand microtransit services around 4 different zones within Miami-Dade County. We're looking to aggressively expand that to specifically create ways to connect microtransit in those communities directly to our Metro Rail system. And so this program will be expanding from where it currently is today, and for the whole purpose of trying to help identify ways that we can get people back onto our system and get them to where they need to go and not have to rely on their vehicle to be able to get around the county.
Just a couple of things real quick. Paul asked me to give some ideas about leadership and a couple of nuggets, and I use an acronym, and Schneider, I should have you come up here and talk about this, because I did a couple of speaking engagements for Kanto, and I would use this acronym called REPS, and I'm not going to go through everything, because eventually I'm going to write a book like you do, Paul, but just a couple of things that I've learned through my time, and I've worked in Miami, Denver, I was in Houston, I was in DC, and I worked a whole bunch of different places. And there's certain themes that come out that's helped me out in my career. And REPS, the acronym is REPPS. And the first R stands for results. And at the end of the day, as a leader, a manager, that's what you're there to do. You're there to produce results and figure out a way to do it within the current circumstance. There's been so many times where in my current role, I've heard a lot of reasons and excuses of why things don't happen. And I've had to remind my leadership team is that reasons and excuses aren't solutions. Your job is to figure out how to produce a result given your circumstances. That's your job. And so what I found is that if you're able to do that, people recognize it, and people will put you in other positions where you can have more authority and more responsibility. The second letter in REPS is E. That stands for expectation. I think oftentimes in public sector life, and I've had several stints in the private sector as well, for some reason people think that public transportation is okay with having lowered expectations. Anybody remember that Mad TV show? There was like a segment called Lowered Expectations. And we should never lower expectation, right? You always, every single day, need to come in and do better than the day before. And so you have to set expectations high and demand that those expectations are being met from yourself and the rest of the staff, as well as our consultant community. Yeah, very good. So we have to, yeah. And then I'll stop at the first P, which is people. And I think we said it before. At the end of the day, we're here to make sure that the people that report to us are in a position to maximize their potential. And if you can help them out, either through coaching, developing that individual employee, especially if they have ambition, and not be afraid that people are smarter than you, that might not be in your position. You use that to their ability, and if they end up getting those opportunities to shine and go on eventually to replace you, then you've done your job. You know, and I've seen that so many times where leaders get in a position where they're afraid and they're challenged and they're scared of somebody who's coming in, and what ends up happening is that person reaches a cap. And if that person's reaching a cap, you destroy their ambition, and then it starts to filter down into the rest of the organization. And so we're trying to build a culture here in Miami to make sure that everybody knows if they come in, they work hard, they deliver those results, they meet those expectations, that they're going to have opportunities within that department to rise. And so I'll challenge each and every one of you to take that on. And the other 2 P's and the S will come in my book.
How about that? Give him a big hand. Spending time here in Southern Florida this week at the Florida Public Transportation Association Conference has shown me once again that my friends that are leading public transit agencies here are really some of the leaders when it comes to innovation in public transportation. Areas like microtransit, electrification of vehicles, autonomous vehicles, equity and inclusion in public transportation. There's a lot we can learn from our friends here in the South. Hopefully you've enjoyed this deep dive into what they're doing here. I'm Paul Comfort, coming to you from Music City, USA, Nashville, Tennessee. All around you can hear a cacophony of music and sounds, just like we've got going on in the public transit industry right now. The harmony and the melody of all kinds of complex ideas. Should we continue to charge fares for public transit, or should we go zero fare? What's happening with battery electric buses versus hydrogen fuel? All these issues and more will be addressed on today's episode from Nashville, Tennessee's ThinkTransit Conference. You'll hear the best and the brightest and get to hear all sides of the issue. Only on today's episode of Transit Unplugged TV. This year's ThinkTransit Conference brought 500 thought and technology leaders together to share best practices, learn about new trends, and get hands-on training on new software and technology products. One of the highlights is always the Transit Unplugged Live CEO Roundtable.
Excited to be with you here today at the ThinkTransit Conference, and this is our Transit Unplugged Live event. So happy to have with us 4 of our nation's, and actually North America's, leading transit executives to kind of pull back the curtain a little bit and share with you their lives, about their careers, and a little bit about what the future of public transportation looks like. And they're going to dive into current challenges they're facing today. Monica?
And to piggyback off of that, Paul, I would say get yourself a good mentor. Regardless of where you are, even at the CEO level, I have a core group that I'm always talking to because sometimes I need to talk and I need advice and input. Get yourself a good mentor. And then someone is always watching you. If you're working hard, they're watching, and if you're not working hard. And don't think that your work is going unnoticed. Someone is watching you, and your time will come as you continue to put in that great effort.
Great advice.
I think it classic cliche of like pay it forward. We're in this industry because we're here to do it for the community and the customers and the communities we serve. So we're all here for the people. We're not here for profit. So what are you doing in your own role to pay it forward? It doesn't matter what your role is. Are you helping someone else? Are you mentoring someone? Are you learning something new? We as the industry are the collective, and so I think this is why I love the industry. We're not in competition with each other. We can all share and learn, and so that's my thing, is what have you done today or tomorrow to pay it forward within the industry? And if we can all do that, I think we can all become better.
Wonderful. All right, Billy, bring it home.
Leadership is lonely, and it doesn't always feel good. And if it doesn't feel good, that doesn't mean you're not doing the right thing. Create space for people to learn and grow, and don't be disappointed when everybody doesn't want a ticket on that bus. Everybody doesn't want to be a leader. Everybody doesn't want to grow. Identify those people that do and support them.
Beautiful. Let's give that group a round of applause.
Karen, thank you so much for being the keynote speaker of the entire Think Transit conference. What were the main points you were trying to present? Because I heard from so many people afterwards, they were really moved by what you said.
Well, thank you for that. I had a very long and rich message in some ways, but the 2 points I'd like to really highlight are the power of workforce development and moving our nation and getting people to the places they need to be, creating healthy communities and vibrant opportunities. But I really delved into looking at emotional well-being and mental health because too often people are struggling in silence, and to have a strong workforce that's capable, competent, and well-adjusted requires a focus on that emotional well-being and that work-life balance.
Nick, we're here in Nashville, your hometown. Tell us what the Nashville WeGo transit system is doing to improve safety.
Sure. The first thing we did was we brought in new barrier doors for our buses. So we retrofitted our buses to have a real barrier instead of the COVID barriers that everybody came up with. And then the second important thing, I think, was we started putting a real emphasis on safety culture. So what does that look like? So we created a employee safety reporting program that says, hey, we want to hear from you. Tell us what we can do to improve. That was huge.
Dave, in South Florida, what have you done to improve safety on your commuter rail system?
So we've got a lot of areas of focus, but one of the things we really wanted to concentrate on was the rider feeling safe when they get on the train. We want to make it so that you would feel safe putting your child on the train to go to school. So we've worked a lot with our security contractors, improve the training, make sure we have a little more consistent operations, and then we tried to vary their schedules. So you never really know when they're going to be there, but you know they're going to be there and you expect to see them. So we've done that, and then we're working very hard on our right-of-way, being a good neighbor. We've removed 450 tons of garbage and debris from our right-of-way because we really want to be a part of the community, want people to feel good about what they have in their backyard.
The Think Transit Conference features an all-day executive summit where top leaders from North America's transit systems learn from each other. This year featured a fun debate on the pros and cons of zero-fare bus systems, with Merrimack Valley Transit's Administrator Noah Berger presenting the pro-zero-fare side, arguing that this promotes more ridership along with better equity and inclusion. And the Southwest Transit Association's Executive Director, Rich Sampson, presenting arguments that larger systems especially require the funding from fares, and that America actually needs more investment, not less, in public transportation to attract more riders. In between the two, the Northern Virginia Transportation Commission's Executive Director, Kate Mattice, served as a referee in this good-spirited debate. We also brought 8 of the nation's newest public transit agency CEOs together to share what their experiences have been like in the under 1 year they have been on the job, and what their challenges are going forward. A very insightful and candid exchange. Doran, what do you think is the most important step on the road to someone considering a zero-emission future?
Well, I think that for us as transit operators, transit providers, we're really on the cutting edge of these technologies. And that's exciting, but what comes with that is also a level of risk. Understanding that risk at all levels, to me, is the very first step that we have to take. That comes with our policymakers, that comes with our team members. It's educating, it's understanding, it's informing, and it's also expecting, to some extent, the unexpected. We're learning things that we don't even know we're going to learn, but until we get in there, we don't find that out. So to me, that risk profile and really leaning into that, not that it's something to be afraid of, but it's something that's really important in the journey.
I think you've done that very well at Foothills. I mean, you're so innovative in so many ways, not only in electric battery buses, but more lately, you've been leaning into hydrogen fuel vehicles, and I think you may have the largest fleet in the country. Tell us about that.
Well, we do have the largest fleet of hydrogen fuel cell buses. They're literally just finishing being delivered right now, so we're starting again this new cycle. We're super excited about the technology, and we think that what it can do for the community and for our customers is very much on par with our traditional fleets with a zero-emission tailpipe. But again, we're starting that risk profile all over again, and I tell my board all the time, we're doing something different, we're doing something new, we're on the cutting edge. We're going to learn things that we don't know we're going to learn. That's exciting, but we've got to be prepared for that. And fortunately, the board continues to be very supportive of that journey. In fact, they're pushing us to continue on that hydrogen journey, and just last week gave us direction to order 19 more hydrogen fuel cell buses. So we're going in big.
Gary, what do you think is the most important step in moving toward a zero-emission future for a transit agency?
You have to understand the technology. You have to look towards the future, because it's not about what the technology is being delivered today. It's about what the technology is that's going to be delivered tomorrow. Most people fail to recognize the fact that within our industry, we are quickly moving to a 36-month product cycle, to the point where new products will be introduced in 3 or 4 years that haven't been thought of yet today. And they will impact what we do and how we do it. And we have to prepare for that type of intricate investment to ensure that we maximize the utilization of public funds.
Music City, USA has played a perfect backdrop as we've listened to some of the nation's top public transportation leaders sing the melody and harmony lines of what it takes to take our transit industry to the next level. Not many shows bring you behind-the-scenes access to truly unplugged conversations with some of our nation's leaders. That's what you've heard today as they've helped you understand their decision-making processes and how we take this great industry forward. Public transportation truly providing mobility and access to all of life's opportunities.